100-year-long battle that spanned 74,000 fights between Dorry and Broggy may be coming to an end due to the underhanded tactics of the Baroque works. We learned quite a lot about these two giants in this episode. I mean, to start off with, it started with them fighting as they have so many times, and you can just tell if one of these strikes land on each other that is game over. It's going to be fatal. And they end up actually knocking each other over, and they declare how they've had 74,000 fights and they've had 74,000 draws, and they actually seem quite friendly with each other. You know what I mean? This isn't what I originally thought it was, where I thought it was like a blood feud and they hated each other or something like that. They actually seem quite cool with each other. It's just their pride. Broggy goes on to explain to Usopp and Nami why they are how they are, why the giants act the way they do, and why they are fighting. And it is the fact that in Elbaf, pride is their treasure. You know, that's the thing that they cherish the most in the world, is their pride. And that's why they have to do this fight. It doesn't even have to be for any particular reason, but they can't give up. They have to fight because they're warriors. They're from Elbaf. And yeah, their treasure is their pride. And it's a theme in this series that characters have treasure, the thing they care about the most, the things that they can't live without, with almost the things they live for. And pride is clearly what these two care about the most. So the fact that they've been fighting for 100 years starts to make a lot of sense. It doesn't even need a reason at this point if that's what they live for, if that's what their treasure is. And Usopp is clearly very inspired by these two. You know, Usopp's dream is to become a brave warrior of the sea. That's his whole goal. And he's seeing it right before his eyes, and he's clearly very inspired by these guys. But what we also see for the duration of this episode is the fact that Broggy and Dorry are quite normal. I mean, obviously what they do isn't normal. You know, them fighting for 100 years, them being willing to die for their pride, basically like Vikings. But just them sat around chatting, cracking jokes, you know, Broggy with Usopp and Nami just talking about everything. And then Dorry the same with Luffy and Vivi. They're all just chatting, cracking jokes, you know, eating. They're just like normal people, essentially. But they just have these crazy ideals, essentially, that they follow. But this 100-year battle of pride could be coming to an end pretty soon due to the tactics of the Baroque work, specifically Mr. 3, whose slogan is big crimes and weak tricks. And what he's done is he spiked the alcohol that Dorry was drinking with explosives and literally exploded from the inside out. And Dorry even thought Luffy did it, so those two ended up fighting. Of course, Luffy didn't back down. He actually managed to land a really good hit on Dorry, and it's really left Dorry in a bad state. Not so much due to his fight with Luffy, but more due to the fact of the explosive. And of course, Broggy is none the wiser to all of this. So now that Dorry's pretty much incapacitated, Broggy is none the wiser, and the volcano's just gone off for them to battle. And Dorry, being how prideful he is, he's going to fight anyway, even though he's pretty much on death's door. He's in a really bad state. And this could end terribly, because if Broggy defeats Dorry, it's not going to be good for either of them. Obviously, one, Dorry will die, which, you know, isn't ideal, and not in a proper way either, in a way that he wasn't even able to fight at his full strength, so it wouldn't be a prideful death, I guess, in his eyes. And with Groggy's case, if he defeats Dorry after all this time, while Dorry's in this state, again, it won't be good for him either, because his pride won't allow that. He wants a fair fight. That's what these two want. They want a fair fight to see who wins, to see who's the strongest. So this does not work well for anybody except for the Baroque works, whose plan is or Mr. 3's plan at least, is to incapacitate one of the giants, get the other one to destroy him, and then collect the bounty on both. And they've disrupted this 100-year battle for that. Like, it's terrible. So I don't know what's going to happen next. If this fight goes ahead, it could be terrible for everybody involved. Luffy is obviously not happy at all. Also, Vivi's in a very shitty situation at the moment, because the log post isn't supposed to charge up again for another year, and Alabaster's in insane trouble right now, and she needs to get back as quick as possible, and she's stuck in Little Garden. So I don't know how that's all going to work. Everything's very tense at the moment, and there's a whole lot at stake, and I'm insanely invested into this whole thing. So yeah, we'll just have to see where this all goes. Let's do it.